Hi, everybody. Dr. Brett Scher. I'm the medical director at dietdoctor.com. And I want to tell you about another news post that we have up on our website at dietdoctor.com. This one was really interesting. The piece was written by Ann Mullins, and I encourage you to go to our website to read more about it. But basically what she reported was a study that was presented. Where was it presented? It was presented at the World Congress on Insulin Resistance, Diabetes, and Cardiovascular Disease. It's a long conference name, but basically an important conference focusing on diabetes and insulin resistance. And this was a reevaluation of the Diet Fits study, which we wrote about last year when it was, or in 2018 when it was published. And the Diet Fits study, just as a reminder, was a low carb versus low fat for 12 months to see which was better for weight loss and to see about insulin and genetics. Basically, there was no difference, no statistically significant difference in weight loss after the full year. Although what's interesting is the low fat group significantly reduced their carbohydrates as part of the trial. And the low carb group started at 20 grams of carbs, but then increased to 100, and by the end of the trial was eating 130 grams of carbs. So definitely not a ketogenic trial, and really not that low of a carb trial either, because they kept increasing as the trial went on. But be that as it may, it was basically thought of as a negative study because there was no difference between the groups. Now, but what this study did, they took 40 of those participants and they did fat biopsies, fat pad biopsies, and actually looked at the fat cells. And what they saw was that those in the low carb group had better insulin levels, so better signs of metabolic health with lower insulin levels and smaller fat cells. Their fat cells shrank more than those on the low fat group. So it makes an interesting point, right? Because we know not all weight loss is the same. So even if the weight loss is similar, is there one version of weight loss that is healthier or more beneficial from a metabolic standpoint than the other? Well, this trial certainly suggests that the low carb version of the weight loss, even with the caveat that it wasn't keto for sure, as the carbs went up to 130 grams, but the lower carb version had similar weight loss with lower insulin and with shrinking size of fat cells. So if you're making a comparison of which would you rather have, I'd certainly rather have the latter with the lower insulin and the smaller fat cells. Now, will that translate to clinical benefits down the road? This trial didn't look at that, right? We want to know, does it decrease your risk of heart attacks and strokes and diabetes and dementia and those sorts of things, right? That's the endpoint we're all interested in. This trial didn't tell us anything about that. It just didn't examine it. But boy, it sure is sort of setting the stage to say maybe this will be the case, and maybe this is a healthier and more beneficial way of losing weight. So what I really loved about this post by Ann Mullins and about this study was it sort of focuses us to remind us that not all weight loss is the same. Weight loss is one parameter we're looking at. The other parameters are what's happening to our health, our, abdominal circumference, our visceral adiposity, our metabolic markers, how we feel, what's our risk of disease, all those things. Those are probably even more important in my mind than weight. So it kind of helps us refocus our attention. So if you want to read the whole piece, go to dietdoctor.com. It's a great piece by Ann Mullins. And of course, hit subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll get all the updates as they come. Thanks. Have a great day.